First, I decided to work on the shooting game mode. Here I created a scene using simple images and assets. I then applied physics to the ball and created a script in which it allowed the ball to move from the point you click the mouse to when you release, whilst having a force applied to it. This script was pretty simple to make, however effective. With the shooting working well and flawlessly, I decided to work on the target game modes. I placed simple targets that would disappear when hit by the ball. Lastly, I made a target system have some form of scoring, where each target was 10 points. And if one problem that did occur was I still had unlimited chances. I had to look up on a few Unity forums, and I found a way to provide the player with a limited amount of shots. As you can see here, the player has 5 shots, and every time he shoots, a ball disappears, meaning he loses a life. If he loses all the lives and doesn't get the correct score, the lose scene will be activated. Lastly, during week 4, Mehdi told me that fungus mechanics could be used on Android without any need for additional coding. This was interesting. After a quick search on Unity forums, I read that if I used the get mouse button down and get mouse button up, they would work on Android and on other touchscreens. I was extremely thankful that I used these statements in my scripts, as this would allow us to use the game on Android devices. I wasn't 100% sure if it would work. However, we agreed to only implement this at the very end if our game was good on PC and working perfectly. Here is when a big decision was made as a team. My fellow teammates, David and Mehdi, communicated to me that the game with both the striker option and goalkeeper was too complex and time-consuming. That although Fungus was a good system to use to integrate story and decision-making into our game, they found it very user-friendly and tedious to use. This in turn affected me as I had to eliminate 2 game modes when you are the goalkeeper. This caused another major problem, which was that now I needed to come up with different gameplay and forms of progression with the 2 game modes I have remaining, the striking game modes. The story would then need to change and accommodate the new forms of gameplay. So what I decided to do was sit with my team on Discord and come up with the story alongside them and integrate the game modes. However, this did take a bit of time as some further research needed to happen. And I ended this week doing some research into game design and came across Kishu Tenketsu, a design framework using poetry and implemented into games design by Nintendo's when creating the Mario franchise. This concept is simple. The gameplay has 4 stages: introduction, development, twist, and conclusion. This form of game design is extremely useful when trying to progress the skill of the player. We believe that as the protagonist of the story progresses, the player playing the game should also progress with them in their skill. My goal for this week was to finish a new story with my teammate and apply Kishu Tenketsu via the gameplay. The introduction would be the targets and having unlimited amount of shots. To integrate it to the story, I recommended that this should be some form of practice our protagonist does during the training to get better. In turn, making the player get better with the skill of the game and introducing the game mechanics to them. The next stage is development. Here we develop the target game by making it score-based with limited amount of goals. In terms of story, I suggested our protagonist would go up against the antagonist and to also add variation via dialogue choices. The variation would be the amount of chances the player gets. The next stage would be the twist. Here the player would be confronted by a goalkeeper. Story-wise, this would be in a match. Again, the variation would be the amount of chances you get,